Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Michael and Dale at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you've listened to me over the years, you know how much Peg and I love our Cocker Spaniels, Jesse and Simon. You guys helped us name Simon a couple of years ago when he joined our family. Pets play a very special role in our lives. Pew Research said in a survey recently that 97% of pet owners say their pets are a part of the family, and 51% consider their animals as much a part of the family as their human relatives. I know that feeling for sure. Of course, just like us, unfortunately, our furry relatives can have health issues, and at not so convenient times. Over the years, we've had our share of visits to the emergency vet at all hours of all days, and sadly, we've experienced the heartbreak of losing one of our sweet friends as well. Joining me today, a lady who knows all about the challenges of pet ownership and their health, Dr. Diana Phillips, who has spent years as an emergency vet and also helps families say goodbye to their best friends as well. Welcome, Dr. Phillips. How are you?
Hey, good. I'm doing fine.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate your time today. Appreciate you spending some time with us. Let's just start sort of at the beginning. When did you become interested in being a veterinarian?
As long as I can remember. So I knew that I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was 5 years old and used to collect critters from outdoors. So turtles and lizards that would enter our bathtub and be discovered by our parents and then released again outdoors. Of course, dogs and cats and parakeets. But I think my passion solidified a little bit further when I got into high school and became really interested in the sciences. And I had a phenomenal biology teacher, Melba Blanton, who has passed. And I think she touched the hearts of many students that went through Seneca High School years ago. And she still is in my heart, and I think very highly of her. So when the passion of science is sort of coupled with my passion for love of animals, I knew there was nothing else that I wanted to do.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how a teacher like that can just really have an impact on your life?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. And I think that's true for many of us.
Yeah, yeah. For a number of years, you were an emergency vet. What's the difference about that type of practice compared to the typical neighborhood veterinarian?
There's a fair amount of difference. For like general practitioners, they are seeing animals routinely for just kind of health screenings, vaccines, a lot of itchy skin. They do get complicated cases that can take some time to work up, and then sometimes they end up needing to refer to specialists for certain problems. But then they are continuing to check in on these patients and help manage their health and, changes of their life stages and alter their medications, as the years go on. Emergency medicine is different because you're usually meeting these pets for the first time in distress for one reason or another. Sometimes it can be something as simple as a broken toenail to an animal that has polytrauma and has been hit by a car, and everything in between. And so basically you're kind of having to triage and diagnose and treat these patients on an emergency basis. You stabilize them. And then the goal is to either, have those patients return to their family veterinarian or general practitioner for continued care, or if they need specialty involvement for a complicated fracture or something of that nature, then you can refer to a specialist to help manage that patient.
Sure.
So that's kind of the difference between general practicing and emergency medicine.
I would bet that the emergency medicine is probably a lot more fast-paced. You probably see a lot of unusual things, don't you?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is. It is pretty fast-paced, and that is also something that I love and am still passionate about. I don't practice routinely. I keep my pinky finger in it, and occasionally will pick up shifts, but it used to be for a couple of decades, that's all I practiced. And it's organized chaos is what it is.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of very sick patients, and it can be extremely rewarding when you see an animal come in that is, near the brink of death, and then you see them walking out of the building wagging their tail, and there is nothing more fulfilling than that.
Wow. With me today, Dr. Diana Phillips, and we're talking about our pets. Look, I know that feeling because I've spent a fair amount of time in emergency vet clinics over the years. About a year and a half or so, I guess it was. Our Jesse, whom you have met, he got real ill. We didn't know what was going on with him. Took him to our family vet, Dr. Steve Cahoon in Taylor's, and then we ended up over at the emergency clinic in Greenville, and we were told that Jesse needed his gallbladder removed. I didn't even know that was a thing with pets, and after gallbladder surgery, he was fine.
Oh, good. It's good that turned out well for you.
Yeah,
yes, so. Some do well after that surgery.
And I'm going to reference the Pew Research that I referenced earlier. A lot of families, more and more people, of course, are getting pets. 62% of U.S. families now have at least one pet. About half have one or more pets. This, of course, in some areas has led to a shortage of docs. Clemson University they're in the process of opening what will be South Carolina's only veterinarian school. Do you feel that vets are overworked? Is it stressful?
Yeah, it can be stressful. And I do think that a lot of veterinarians feel a lot of stress and sometimes overworked. You have the hours of your clinic or your shifts at the emergency, hospital, or if you're a specialist. There, even after you're not on the floor and seeing patients, you have a lot of records to maintain, clients to call, help kind of talk through situations about what the next step is. A lot of people, want to speak directly to their veterinarian,
Sure.
and they are kind of in the middle of 15 different things coming at them. And so sometimes you can't stop for lunch, and sometimes it's difficult to even get to the restroom. And
Sure.
so it can be pretty stressful.
Yeah. On our guest line, Dr. Diana Phillips. Now, Dr. Phillips, you are part of a growing trend. Unfortunately, we all get to that point to where we have to say goodbye to our pet friends. It's heartbreaking. But some vets are starting to come to your home so that your pet can be in a familiar place in their final moments with the family. Talk with us about that process and your experience with that.
Yeah. So I graduated in 2002, so it's been a minute, and from the University of Georgia, and I've primarily practiced emergency medicine in Greenville and also at other locations. But I have always, for family and close friends, helped with their pets passing at home, and so that is not new to me.
Yeah.
But about a year ago, I joined a group called CodaPet, and that is basically an in-home pet euthanasia service. And there are several around, if you're looking for a veterinarian to help your fur baby pass at home, all you would need to Google is in-home pet euthanasia, and you'd probably have a handful of options come up.
Yeah.
And I've heard good things about everyone. The group that I work for is CodaPet, and they are based out of California. I work as a 1099 employee for this group.
Sure.
But CODA basically means the concluding passage of a piece or movement, often in reference to the finale of a ballet or the end of a piece of music. And basically, I did not think that this would be something I would see myself doing at this point in my career because, I like I stated before, I love emergency medicine and I love the crazy and the organized chaos. And but I had a colleague who started doing this, and she said, wow, this is very different, and it's a kind of a 180 from emergency medicine, and I think you may like this. You may want to give it a try.
Sure.
And I thought, yeah, probably not for me. But I did give it a try, and I've actually found that it is some of the most meaningful work that I've ever done.
Wow.
And so basically what this involves is, most of us don't want to have to load up our stressed or painful animal into a car and then into a building where other animals are there, maybe making loud noises or have a smell that upsets your pet, and into kind of a more sterile hospital environment to say goodbye. And then you have to drive home and you're upset.
Yeah.
And so what is nice about these in-home pet euthanasia services is that, someone basically you book the appointment online most of the time. And, with my group, you just go to like www.codapet.com and you can, put in what type of animal you have, like cat or dog, like select cat or dog, an approximate weight that your pet weighs and a zip code. And, your, aftercare preferences, such as cremation, and you're given you're usually given an estimate of cost for someone to come to your house. And part of that estimate is the traveling. So depending on how far that veterinarian has to travel to your house. So if it's an hour drive versus a 5-minute drive, there's going to be a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
But what's nice about the in-home euthanasias is that typically the veterinarian will reach out to you before your appointment and ask if you have any questions. Some people don't have any questions. Others, like to know what process, occurs and
Sure.
if they can be with their pet during the entire process, what happens for aftercare. And then then the veterinarian comes to your home at the scheduled time, and usually some form of sedation is administered, just to kind of relax your cat or dog or whatever pet is being seen that day, and then basically you're allowed to have your pet pass in the comfort and relaxation of their own home, where they're the least stressed in the familiar environments with their family members, friends, and then the pet parents don't have to get into a car and drive home, which has always worried me that somebody's going to have a wreck on the way home because they're just so upset about what's just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and as I said, and anyone who's ever experienced it is just a very hard thing to do, and this just seems so much easier for me to be at home for everybody, for the pet, for the entire family. So with me today, Dr. Diana Phillips. And for additional information, you can go to CodaPet.com. That's CODA pet.com, CodaPet.com. Because, look, again, I hope I'm years and years away from having to say goodbye to Jesse and or Simon. But when it get to that point, this would be a whole lot easier. Or are you seeing people in the upstate area, are they embracing this?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize it's a service that exists. In fact, when I graduated in 2002, I don't know anyone around this area who used to do this unless they were maybe a large animal veterinarian and, had like an ambulatory service with it. They would naturally come out to your house with these supplies. But, this is becoming a little bit more popular where, it's a very personal, meaningful experience where you get to, your animal is not being taken away from you. The way that they're passing is explained to you, which can be a little bit different from one vet to another and one patient to another. And they get to, pass with the least stress possible in their familiar environment.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly, again, I hope that I do not have to call on you anytime soon, but eventually we will get there. And it just sounds so much easier for everybody. Dr. Diana Phillips, thank you for your time today. One more time, that website is CodaPet.com, and Dr. Diana Phillips is who our guest is today. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Joey Hudson here. America is facing a health crisis, and the answer isn't more meds. I lost over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan without Ozempic or any weight loss shots. Don't settle for a lifetime of medication. GLP-1 injections like Ozempic help some people lose weight, but they come with side effects, high cost, and most gain it back when they stop. At PhD Weight Loss, we reveal Big Pharma's big secret. Your body already makes GLP-1, the appetite-fighting hormone. Our program helps your body make it naturally so you'll drop the pounds faster. With the PhD method, no side effects, no long-term risk, no rebound weight gain, just natural, lasting results, all without hunger or cravings. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. Discover your body's true potential without a shot. It's free and gives you the keys to your personalized plan. Do like I did and don't trade your health for a quick fix. Call now at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or visit myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. We always like to show the men and women who have served in our country's armed services our appreciation for their dedication, for their service to our country. We can never show that enough, and there's a great organization that is doing just that. Co-founded by 2 combat wounded veterans, since 2008, Purple Heart Homes has been helping to provide safe, barrier-free housing solutions for service-connected, disabled, and aging veterans from all eras. On our guest line today is Michael Arabe, president with the Golden Corner chapter of Purple Heart Homes. Welcome, Michael. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate your time today. I love your motto, Michael, improving veterans' lives one home at a time. How did you become involved?
Well, it's always been part of my idea of what quote unquote retirement looked like, to do these kinds of things as sort of a portion of that. And we had been doing some work with Habitat for Humanity and a couple places, different organizations like that, and happened to run into someone who at that time was president of the Golden Corner chapter for Purple Heart. And so we talked to them about kind of what they did, and they said, they were telling us about their projects, and they were really looking for volunteers. And so we got involved, and that was in, I believe, the fall of 2019. And so we've been involved basically ever since.
Yeah. Since Purple Heart Homes was founded in 2008, the organization has assisted with over 1,500 plus projects. Give us an example, Michael, of the typical project for the Golden Corner chapter.
So as you said, kind of in your opening, it's almost all about safety and accessibility for veterans so they can age in place. Now, we do some community projects, which are projects that benefit veterans, but may not be for a specific veteran. We do one or so of those a year. But typically, I would say probably roughly 80% of our projects are ramps and decks and landings and that sort of thing, and the other 20% are bathroom accessibility, plumbing related issues, all again so you have safety and accessibility for the whole house.
Yeah. Does it cost the veteran anything when you guys take on a project like this?
It does not. It's all we take care of everything, either through the money that we raise locally or through our association with Purple Heart's Home Corporate, and we provide the materials, the tools, the labor, the drinks, the lunches, everything. So it's all just about helping the veterans.
Yep. If you'd like additional information about Purple Heart Homes, just go to their website, purplehearthomesusa.org, purplehearthomesusa.org, and you can see the wonderful work that this group is doing. Michael, if you would, give us just a sort of a quick summary of the history and how this all came about.
Well, in our, are you talking about for corporate or for our local area?
Well, for both, for how the organization was founded and then how it started here in the Golden Corner area.
Well, as you said, at the beginning, two gentlemen came back from being deployed overseas, and one had very significant injuries, and they got this idea to start trying to help veterans, and it sort of grew from there. Really great organization, well run. The president has a real vision for kind of where he's taking the organization. And then locally, as it is with most local organizations, there's always somebody who, who's a veteran who has a heart for veterans, who thinks, gosh, there's a lot of people in our area that could use this kind of help. And that's kind of the way it got started here. And so, from there, it just kind of goes, and as it grows, more word gets out. You have additional people who volunteer. In our case here in the upstate now, we actually have 4 teams of people that work, and so we kind of deploy depending on which county or area that they're in.
Yeah. With me today on our guest line, Michael Arabe. He's president of the Golden Corner chapter of the Purple Heart Homes organization. And Michael, it's my understanding that the organization was originally started just up the road up in North Carolina. Is that correct?
That's right, in Statesville.
Yeah. And now, of course, it has expanded nationwide. Again, you can get information at purplehearthomesusa.org. So we talked about the expense and the fact that this does not cost the veteran any money. Where does that money come from? I know you obviously you have to raise it. Is that part of just the volunteers that are part of your group? Do you have businesses, organizations throughout the community that sort of help out?
Yes to all the above. We have we fundraise from individuals. We fundraise from organizations. A lot of communities up here in the upstate support us either through their local community foundations or through their gifts of their local residents who are exposed to Purple Heart and give. We also work with some local foundations. We are fortunate to have a number of churches and organizations like that help as well. Probably part of the biggest contributor, biggest help with us is the Home Depot Foundation.
Yeah,
we work with them extensively, and so overall, a little bit of a round number here, but they underwrite probably half of everything that we do. Just again, kind of round numbers, but
sure.
They're fantastic to work with. We've done a number of projects where not only have they supported us through gifts from the foundation, but the stores in Seneca and Easley have actually had people who come out and worked with us on projects the last few years, and we're hoping to have another one here in a couple of weeks where they'll do the same thing. So.
Sure. As we've mentioned, you're part of the Golden Corner chapter. Any idea of how many chapters there actually are across the country?
I don't actually have that number there. I know that there are, I think the last time we were looking, you mentioned 1,500 projects. We've done about 14% of them up here in the upstate. So this chapter is very, very active. And there are some other chapters around the country that are also very active. But a big part of Purple Heart corporate mission right now is to expand the number of chapters and also the amount of work that any given chapter is able to take on. In our case here, our first project was in 2013, and since that time, we've done 217 projects, and we've got another 10 or 15 that we're in process right now, either in terms of going out and looking at the project or actually working on it or have plans for it or getting ready to complete it.
That's pretty amazing. Michael Arabe is my guest today. He's president of the Golden Corner chapter of Purple Heart Homes. So let's just kind of break this down, Michael, if you will. If someone listening to us has a need, what's the process?
So there are several different ways that it typically happens. Probably the easiest is to go to the website, Purple Heart Homes, that you mentioned earlier. And in there's a place where you can click on see where all the various chapters are, but there's a place right on the website where you can request assistance. And it's a quick online application. And then once that application is submitted, we get word, if assuming it's in our local area, and then we follow up, typically go out, do a site visit, kind of assess what needs to be done. Sometimes the veteran has sort of encapsulated all the things that need to be done. Sometimes when we're out there, we might see something that maybe it's not a problem today, but it's likely to be a problem in a couple of months. And so we'll suggest maybe adding something to that. But based on that final conversation with the vet, we come back, draw up plans, get it back to the vet, make sure that what we're suggesting that we'll do is consistent with what they need to have done. And then we start off on our process. So we go out, get the materials, either deliver them or have them delivered. And then we have a team of people that goes out and works the project, builds the whole project.
Sure. And again, that website is purplehearthomesusa.org, purplehearthomesusa.org. So, Michael, if and honestly, I had heard of Purple Hearts before over the years, and I was aware that Home Depot had been a big partner in the program. But recently, I was just involved in a conversation with some buddies who a veteran friend of ours had a situation, been in the hospital, coming home, and just needs some small minor things done for him to be able to maneuver around his home. So if someone has that request, let's say they need a ramp to get into their home, and they make that request, do you guys approve that locally, or is that something that is approved from the national organization? How and as far as funding, if you have raised the money to cover that, can you guys just make the decision locally that you're going to proceed?
Yes, it's so the national organization does do, for want of a better term, the due diligence. They make sure that the person is who they say they are and that they're entitled to the benefits, and they do a background check and all that sort of stuff. But that turnaround is usually pretty quick. We can make the decision here locally, particularly if it's a kind of an emergency situation. We also, because we have a number of veterans where the original veteran has passed away, but the spouse is still alive, Mm-hmm. We actually do work for surviving spouses as well. And in that particular instance, we fund all of that work locally. That's, in other words, those are projects that we fundraise for so that we have the ability to help those surviving spouses.
Wow. That's great to know. And kudos to you guys for doing that, Michael. That's important. All right. So,
well, if you talk to any vet, they all say, hey, when a spouse serves, the whole family serves. And so that's the way we look at it.
Yeah, sure. Well, and I commend you for what you do. This is just a great organization, and we have to take care of our veterans. So if someone listening today says, look, I love what this group's doing, and they'd like to volunteer, I would imagine that you guys could use additional help. And I'm sure that if someone wants to donate some money, you can help them with that as well, right?
Absolutely. And they can, Joey, they can call me directly with that. They don't have to go through the same way if they've got project needs, they can, and the easiest thing for them is to call me, then we can get started that way as well.
Sure.
So my cell is 301-466-6679.
Yep. And again, it's Michael Arabe is my guest today. How many projects did you say you guys typically do here in the upstate each year?
We do. It varies a little bit, as you can imagine, because of the size of the projects and type of projects. But I think this year we're thinking we'll probably do somewhere between 30 and 35 projects. Yeah.
Well, again, Michael, I commend you guys for what you're doing. How many volunteers do you have as part of your organization?
A little bit of as you can imagine, it's always a fluctuating number, but there's probably 50 to 75 that volunteer here of the 4 teams that work in the upstate. And Joey, just for the benefit of people listening, some of those people have terrific skills. Some of them don't really have a lot of skills, but They're just willing and able to help. And we like all of that. When I first started years ago, when we were living out in San Diego, I volunteered with a group, and I used to describe myself as being dangerous with the screwdriver. So we sort of start with however people can help. And fortunately, we've got people who are able to, willing to, and love to coach and help people learn how to use tools and do the work. So we're happy to have anybody. There's always need for people to help.
Sure, and that was going to be my next question. If someone's listening would like to volunteer, but they're thinking, well, I'm not a very good carpenter, but everybody helps. Everybody can play a part, and that is a great thing. Michael Arabe, thank you again for your time today. If you'd like information, again, that website is Purple Heart Homes USA, purplehearthomeusa.org. And if you'd like to volunteer, if you'd like to donate, support, or again, if you have a veteran as part of your family or a friend who needs their services, you can also reach out and contact them as well. Michael, again, appreciate your time and thank you for what you do.
You bet, Joey. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.